Hi, and welcome back. Today we are in Thailand, chapter 14. The year is 2009. And Isra was my favorite character of the females to write because she is the opposite of me. She is such a planner. She would be a great chess player. Every move is played with the hope of a strategic outcome, which she usually gets. For me, I did not go through life like that. So it was so fun to be in this woman's headspace. When we last left off with Isra, her big plan, of course, is she has got to get herself out of prison. And she also has the plan of getting a much better second husband. So let's see what Isra is up to today. Buddha answered my prayers one day. He came to me in the form of an elderly Western gentleman, a farang. I thought him to be in his mid-70s. Farangs, unlike Asians, show their age. He was tall and slight, with a fair complexion dotted with freckles, and had thinning silver hair. His pale, clear blue eyes held a lingering sadness. I found myself wondering what the root of his pain was, then quickly stopped myself in order to digest the situation more practically. He was ripe with vulnerability. I could smell it before I saw it in his eyes, and his eyes confirmed what my gut already knew. I figured him to be recently widowed, that he had likely lost the love of his life. He was emptied of every hope and dream and was ever so slowly trying to jam the remnants of his destroyed life back together. Lucky for me, he had come to Thailand to accomplish this feat. When he walked in, the salon was buzzing with idle gossip until 10 pairs of eyes focused on our new customer, a farang. Not just any farang, but a male farang. The combination made for the ideal customer. Silence cut through the room for a moment before feminine voices erupted in excited chatter. Feminine bodies responded accordingly. Postures were straightened and rearranged accordingly to reveal what one deemed one's most flattering profile. Heads were angled to best show fluttering eyelashes, breasts were perked up to point at their target, and voices lowered to a demure purr. A farang was the ultimate conquest for a Thai woman. To win the love of a farang was a victory, for with it followed a better existence. To have a child with a farang would be the ultimate triumph that would permanently seal one's fate. White skin, white life, we all wanted it. Did we want it even if it was at the expense of sacrificing one's youth? Hell yes. Age did not matter. The color of the skin was what mattered. Sure, it would be more pleasurable and mentally more viable to relinquish one's body to a younger farang. But for some, if time was kind, what began as an act of fake lust would develop into love. For others, it was a life consigned to a never ending performance. Competition for the affections of a farang were fierce. Women often abandoned all dignity in hopes of securing a white man. I had even witnessed women explode into a blind rage if their farang even so much as conversed with another Thai woman. Until the security of a ring was ceremoniously placed on your finger, you and your family's existence dangled helplessly, awaiting the outcome of your efforts. I was not a young woman, never blessed with beauty. I was an aging woman beyond her prime, whose time in prison had hardened whatever softness was there. As for my violet hair, I was sure it did little to accentuate much of anything, and I cursed myself for leaving it purple. I knew I had to act before the other women. They were youthful, petite beauties, and prison had not yet gnawed away their features. If the man who stood in front of me was to be my next husband, I had to take action quickly. Without hesitation, I walked over to him and I assaulted him with the best advantage I had. Years of learning English in school and working in a financial institution had given me a good command of the English language. Confidently, I welcomed him. Well, good morning. You speak English. He spoke in an accent I recognized to be British. His name was Gordon. Gordon, I let the name seductively roll off my tongue. My future husband's name was Gordon. My conquering of Gordon's affections was quicker than I had anticipated. It did not entail a well executed strategy. All that was required was to be kind to him and to lavish him with attention. It was almost too easy. At first, he shyly came once a week. Then it was twice, 3 times. And then he began to visit the Women's Correctional Institute on a daily basis. He did not always have a treatment, but he always came before lunch. In that, he reminded me somewhat of my dearly departed husband. I had to shake this thought from my head because in no way were the two similar, and I did not want any thoughts of that fat, lazy bastard to creep into my head and subconsciously corrode what I was trying to foster with the farang. I had to share Gordon with the other women. At first, this troubled me greatly. I had to discreetly watch from the corner of my eye when one of the other girls gave him a reflexology treatment. At the time, I was with an other customer and reluctantly witnessed him solicit the services of another. She giggled and stumbled her way through a conversation in broken English. He, like a fool, giggled along with her. Gordon's eyes never left the perfection of her youthful exterior, and my eyes never left her. She glanced uncertain over at me and met my gaze dead on, and it was the gaze of a woman prepared to do battle. Fortunately, it never came to that, as Gordon was a man who appreciated the fineness of a woman, but was more intent on companionship derived from conversation. I was the only woman in the institution who could satisfy this need, and for this reason alone, I established myself as confidant and claimed him for my own. Initially, there was some resentment among the other women that I quickly deflected, reassuring them that the younger, more attractive farangs would soon come. To appeal to their vanity, I went so far as to compliment them on their polished appearance. I claimed I was the old, ugly girl who snagged the old man whom no one else wanted, while women who possessed the kind of attractiveness they did would be able to capture a real man, a man who was worthy of their talents. I did not want to lose Gordon, but in no way could I afford to alienate the women I was locked in with. I even suggested to them that I was working on their behalf by encouraging Gordon to invite his handsome young sons to Thailand for a visit, and then they could all come in for a treatment. Whether or not these sons existed, I didn't care. When Gordon stopped seeking reflexology services from the other women and patiently waited for me to finish with the customer, I knew I had him where I wanted. Isra, let's find out what she's up to tomorrow. Thank you for listening.